Commissioner, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. So I serve with some of my colleagues here on the Budget Committee, and trying to do the math here on the numbers and then connect the sources to uses. 12 billion, I think, before IRA annual budget, and then you've got the 80 billion from IRA. That's 8 billion a year, so you've 75–80% increase, and then in the president's budget this year, there's another 15% increase. So
correct.
And then the first 8 billion a year coming out of the IRA was for compliance and enforcement. The analysis on 2010 audit rates and the historic data from the IRS suggests that the audits would result, or the additional audits with the additional monies would result with 1 million more audits per year, and that of those 1 million additional audits, 600,000 would be people, individuals, families making $75,000 or less a year. So that'd be certainly over half, maybe as high as 2/3 of your audits, 1 million more on people making $75,000 or less. That's using IRS historical data. Is that consistent with your analysis of your own information?
That's not consistent with our plans. I want to unpack your math a little bit, or the math that's been presented, and I appreciate the question because I think it's important to clarify for middle, low income, and small business what the plan is. But the plan, as I've mentioned, is to focus our enforcement efforts on complex returns of high wealth filers, and with respect to those making less than $400,000, you can go to the 2018 audit rate, and that's all we're going to audit to, at least for the next several years.
And Commissioner, you can imagine how concerned people are that with your past practice, if that's any prediction of future behavior, they see a deluge of new audits on working people, on small businesses, and they're having to hear the line, "We're from the government, we're here to help, and you can trust us." I mean, and listen, I'm not questioning your commitment or integrity, but I think too often we take the American people for fools, and they are just going on their past experience and the data. So I, certainly hope that the commitment's genuine and that the fulfillment of that commitment is consistent with what you're saying, because I find that unacceptable. And if you're going to focus on the more complicated and the high net worth individuals, I don't see any justification for the $8 billion a year and then the president's budget asking for 15% more increase. Now, I'm not asking for you to respond to that. If I may, let me jump to another question. Seemed a little unrelated to that one, but another concern. I was at the Rules Committee talking matters of budget and debt ceiling, but the issue of the IRS, your agency, came up, and firearms, and the idea that in some of your job listings, I don't know if it's all of them, but that says that people who are looking to be employed should be willing to use deadly force. There was an article in the New York Post that was cited in this hearing that stated that the IRS had almost 5,000 guns, 3,282 handguns, 600 plus shotguns, 539 rifles, 15 fully automatic weapons. Anyway, big cache of weapons. Is that true or not true? With no sort of commentary on or a value judgment, is it true?
I'm not going to make a value judgment. I'm just going to make sure that I point out that our criminal investigation division is where we work to reduce and engage in tax fraud and acute areas of tax evasion, where in order to enforce, we're putting federal employees' life in danger, and therefore there's a need to arm. this is less than 3% of the IRS. It's a small part of the overall operation.
But just, can you confirm that some number?
I can get back to you. I don't know the specifics on the data that you provide, but I certainly can get back. But I think context is important.
Well, I know my time has expired, and I regret that I didn't get to talk about the customer service challenges that you face. We can talk about that offline, but
I would like that.
I've got real concerns like my colleagues do on that front. Thank you, and I yield back.